What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Command and Console. My name is Jason. Today I'm going to be talking about my top 5 best bad games ever. The way I've created this list, as usually with most of my lists on this channel, is that they're games that are in my collection, and you're going to be surprised with the picks here. These are bad games, but they are the best bad games. They're games that I actually really like, that most people despise. Anyway, let's get on to my honourable mention. My honourable mention is Aliens Colonial Marines. A bad game, but a game that I can just sit and enjoy with no issues, really. Is it as bland as tap water? Yes. Do I still kind of find a little bit of enjoyment in it? Double yes, because it's aliens and it's got loads of aliens things in it and I like it. The aliens are dumb as shit, but who cares? I get to shoot them in the face and it's fine. It's fine. This game is bad. It's notorious for basically being like a false advertisement in like the demo footage and the adverts and the promotional material. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. I understand that it's bad from an objective perspective, but there's something about this one that I still kind of, I can just boot it up and play it and just be like, yeah, this is fine. This is fine. Like, you know, it's an okay game for me. I can see why it's bad. I can see why people were just furious when it came out. But yeah, it's why it's in the best of bad list, because I feel that it's one of the better bad games out there, in my opinion. So that is my honourable mention, Aliens Colonial Marines. Kicking off this list is an FPS game that is notoriously terrible, and it is one of the bad games that I could not believe how much fun I had with this one. It is Soldier of Fortune Payback. Now, I'm a big fan of those first two Soldier of Fortune games, so I had to pick this one up. I got the PS3 version. This game is bad, to the point where the performance of this game gets to like the single digits. You're playing in like 2 frames per second at some moments in this game. This game is so absurdly violent and has some hilarious audio visual feedback that I was just smiling throughout this title. I played through it as far as I could get until it got really difficult, which it does, but I feel it gets difficult in an arbitrary sense because the frame rate gets ridiculously bad in this one. But man, I have fun with this one. I could probably boot this up now and have loads of fun with it. It's just stupid violent for no reason. It's just really bad. It doesn't feel great. But I don't know what it is, guys. It's on this best of bad list for a reason. It's the best at being bad. One of the best at being bad. I love it. I kind of love it. It's so much. It's fun as hell to play. Even when you're playing at like 2 frames a second, it makes you feel sick. I still have fun with this one. I don't know what to tell you guys. If you want just stupid, over-the-top violence for no reason, and it's just a kind of like a shooting gallery, but a really bad one, but I had fun with it, maybe give it a go. Number 5, Soldier of Fortune Payback. I kind of love it, but it's really bad. My number 4 is Enter the Matrix. It's not unplayable bad, but it's kind of broken and wonky and weird. But for a game that tries to emulate the Matrix and come from the films, I think it's pretty fun. I enjoyed this one for what it is. The hand-to-hand combat is really just jank, and a fun kind of jank. It's funny jank. The shooting's all over the place. The shooting's rubbish. Don't go shooting around in this game. It's awful. But I find just a general vibe. The soundtrack is obviously from the Matrix. The aesthetic is very Matrixy. I think it kind of wins on that side of it. If you like the Matrix, I think you could find something to somewhat like in this one. But again, don't get me wrong, it's bad. It's super janky. The camera's the worst ever. But I just love the whole slow motion kung fu shit in it. It's just hilariously fun to play, in my opinion, even though it's jank as all hell. But yeah, I can recommend this one if you just want some jankiness and some fun little kind of kung fu fighting Matrix game. it's bad, but it's not the worst ever, right? Let's enter the Matrix. This one, I low-key love this game. I generally thought it was alright for what it is. But I know it's generally hated across the board. Loads of people don't like it, but I thought it was nowhere near as bad as people say. It's still pretty bad. It's pretty jank as fuck, but it's nowhere near as bad as what people say. Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City. Whenever Capcom try and take these games into more action-orientated stuff, it never usually works, right? When you go and try to turn a survival horror game into a team-based cover shooter, you're going to get eyebrows raised, right? And I feel like this game tries its best, but doesn't execute it perfectly. It's really jank. It's really broken in some areas. And I feel like it's bad. Objectively, it's bad in the way it's designed and the way some of the mechanics are broken and stuff. But man, did I enjoy this one for what it was. I had loads of fun with this one. I could put this on now and still have quite a lot of fun with it. The shooting is fine, at the most part. The co-op nature of it, you probably could have a bit of a laugh with mates if you put this on and play in, like, you know, in 4-player co-op across online, I suppose. I don't think you can do that now, but, you know, in essence, it would have been fun co-op, right? But yeah, this game is bad, but it's one of the better bad games. It's a bad game you probably could get a lot of mileage out of and get some fun out of, in my opinion. It's all right. It's not terrible, but it's bad. You know, it's not the worst of the worst, but it's objectively, yeah, it's a bad game, but I had fun with this one. Yeah, I love it as well because it's in the Resident Evil universe, and you're in Raccoon City, and you visit loads of like the iconic locations from that series. I'm all over that, me, because I love Resident Evil. Nowhere near as bad as people say it is, but it is bad. Emphasis on that, right? Not as bad as the reviews, but it still is kind of bad. As you can see, I'm struggling to justify why I like these games. They are bad, but I always find something to enjoy in these kind of like bad games. Obviously, there's games out there that I look at them, I look at footage and think, yeah, that's a bit beyond the pale, beyond the line for me when it concerns badness. But one game, which is my number 2 here, that is hated across the board, and I don't know what it is, but I actually really like this one. Let's just get to it, yeah? Yeah, my number 2 is, ironically, Two Worlds. This game is fucking dreadful in its design decisions. Oh, the English for the dialogue is awful. It's like they've just got random people on the street to read out these scripts. This game is like a comedy game in that aspect. The dialogue is awful, but it's hilarious to listen to. You're like, fucking hell, man. They must have been like, you know, literally had no money left to do dialogue because it's fucking atrocious. But it's hilarious at the same time. The combat is literally, you're trying to be a Jedi, you're swinging your lightsaber around like a crazy person. I don't think anyone fought like that in these kind of medieval times, right? And yeah, and you can just walk into an area where it's like way above your level state and you can just get killed in one hit by a fucking wyvern. So you're like, what the fuck? But this is where I kind of give this game a bit of slack. I love the world in this game. I love exploring in this game. It's so much fun just to explore and see where you can find and how far you can go before you get murdered. It's so much fun to look around and speak to random people and do random like small little quests that don't really take much of your time. The game excels in its world and its exploration, and that's probably why I like it more than most people. I can get past the bad combat, the unfair difficulty spikes, the terrible dialogue, but it all adds to the charm to me with this one. It's why it's in the best of bad list, because it's one of the best bad games out there that you could probably find fun with. Definitely I found so. I found a lot of fun with this one, and once you get through it, and you want to maybe go through it a second time but put cheats on. It's hilarious with cheats. Because you can just one-hit things and it's fucking hilarious. So yeah, for me, this is like premium bad game, but in premium in the fact that I had lots of fun with it regardless of its badness. One of my favourite bad games ever, Two Worlds. My number 1 game, I've put this on the list because it's considered bad by a lot of outlets, a lot of people. Nobody wants to touch it. Apparently it's like they've ruined the franchise with this one. I don't think it's bad. It's only on the list because it's considered bad, right? A lot of these games are considered bad. I agree that they're bad. This is the only game on the list that I don't think is bad, but it's considered bad by the majority of people in the gaming community. I really like this game, but it's number one because it's the best bad game technically out there, in my opinion, in my collection. And it is Golden Axe Beast Rider. This game surprised the hell out of me. I was expecting it to be an unplayable, janky piece of shit, and it actually turned out to be a really entertaining, super violent Golden Axe game. That really it holds the Golden Axe vibe and DNA in there super, super well. It feels like a Golden Axe game. It really does. Of course, it ain't a 2D side scroller, but they've brought the Golden Axe, the Golden Axe vibe into a 3D plane really well, in my opinion. And to make it an 18 and make it brutal as fuck to play, it's really cool. Yeah, I like this one a lot. It's really good. You even can find a little kind of like little little characters that have the bag, and you can hit them and get like different things out of them. They have that in this game. They have so many things in here that harken back to the original Golden Axe that it was almost like a modern nostalgia trip for me. Is it perfect? Of course not. Of course not. It's quite jank in some areas. The combat doesn't always work. In some encounters it can be quite jank, but I found myself really enjoying this one. Do I understand why it's bad? To a certain degree. The controls can be a bit wonky. The camera, you can change where the camera is, but it still doesn't feel quite right. Depending how far away you put the camera in the options, there's like a camera distance meter. The game doesn't feel quite right no matter where I put the camera. I could put the camera over the shoulder, it feels wrong. I could pull it right back, it still feels wrong. I try and find a kind of sweet spot. There isn't really one there. So the camera is the biggest offender, I suppose you could say. But as it concerns mechanics and overall kind of gameplay flow, it is kind of jank in that it's like, they probably didn't really have the budget to really polish it up. But as a game that harkens back to old Golden Axe, I think it's pretty fun as hell. Really like this one. That's why it's number one in my best bad games ever. Because even though I don't consider this particularly bad, it is kind of renowned to be, Golden Axe, not the bad one. Yeah, it's that one. So yeah, that is my number one, Golden Axe Beast Rider. So that's it, guys. Those are my 5 best bad games ever, with my honourable mention being the pretty bad Aliens Colonial Marines. But yeah, let me know your list of your best bad games ever. Emphasis on best bad, because I'm looking for lists that there's bad games that are kind of renowned as bad that you might enjoy. Drop me down in the comments down below. So those are mine. Let me know yours. And as always, let's continue to build a games collection. Preferably a good games collection, but there's some bad games that I can't help but have a good time with. See you later.